Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network, with a shout out to our listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas, and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also on the AUN TV network in Northern California. As our producer, Rick Trader, says, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. My co-host today is Melissa Isaak. Melissa, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
It's always great to be here, Sharron, and it's always great to co-host with you, and we have some great conversations with some of these people. Some of our, yes. All of us, really.
Yes, we do. Yeah, we always have great guests. That's our hallmark, and we'll be talking about those guests in just a few minutes. But you know, I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on, I guess, with these riots. I don't think there's any community that's really untouched by them. We don't have riots in Nevada. That's not, I mean, in Reno. I've been in Las Vegas during the Rodney King riots. I was there. And, you know, so in a bigger population center, it sometimes happens. I think those were more, I think they were more spontaneous than this seems to be. This seems to be almost orchestrated. And, you know, here in Reno, what we've seen is just a lot of vandalism, property damage, and it's to our downtown area, an area that's been struggling for years to bring business in, to say, yeah, you know, you should go back to downtown Reno and do your shopping and do your, you know, patronize the little bistros and things that are down there. Very difficult to revive an inner city, and yet that's where they've attacked us, is right there in a place where it's really difficult to get people to want to go downtown anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here in Alabama, we've had some protests. Nothing's been really violent. I mean, there was some property damage or some damage done to some monuments, but that's been a hot topic in Alabama for quite a while. But, you know, knock on wood, to my knowledge, they haven't turned violent. So, but I don't think any state has been untouched. They've either had protests or riots. And, of course, we all see on social media some of the very violent riots and the vandalism. But you're right. I don't think any area is untouched right now.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Your neighboring state, Florida, there's a Polk County sheriff there. It would be good if you didn't come, because if you do, you will meet up with someone that has a gun. And I think that we're seeing that now, that the police are just really unable to get this under control in many cases, and people are finding that they're having to defend their own property. A guy in Philadelphia, in fact, he had a group of 3 or 4 people who cut the lock and kicked in the door of his Firing Line Incorporated gun store. And so his name is Greg Isabella. He heard those individuals walking up the steps to his second floor store and took matters into his own hands. He heard them walking up the steps, and one of the individuals who broke into the property pointed a handgun at him, the Philadelphia police inspector said, and that's when the store owner fired his own weapon, striking the perpetrator in at least one time in the head. So they don't understand that these guys, you know, if they're carrying, they're probably trained to use that weapon, and they're not trained to draw their weapon and wound. That's, you know, you draw your weapon, it's to kill. And I think you being in the military, that was kind of your training too. It wasn't, oh well, let's just do like the movies do. Let's just wound them.
Right. It's shoot to kill. So if these officers are pulling their weapons, absolutely. And the sad thing is, we just came off of, we're still in the middle of, I should say come off, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic where small businesses are just struggling right now and then have to defend themselves against protesters or rioters. It's not protesters, these are rioters. And but law enforcement, they can't arrest everybody who's out there vandalizing and looting. They're having a hard enough time containing it. So these small business owners who got arrested just a few weeks ago because they opened up to try to get a haircut, and now their businesses get destroyed. Where's the justice in that? And especially the left coming out and saying, you know what? If you get arrested, we'll give you some bail money. So they're encouraging this social disdain, the social disorder that's really destroying people who have nothing to do with the injustices. What happened was horrible. No one should die at the hands of a police officer unnecessarily, and that's what this was. But to go and ruin some guy's gym, burn the gym down, or go into Target, or what was it? Some office supply store? What? Why? People want law and order on both sides, and it's going to have to come some way.
That's right. Well, we are talking about the inner city problems, and I read an article, Minneapolis riots cite unlikely to see economic growth for decades, history shows. It says riots can have long-term negative economic consequences because they disincentivize investment and frighten potential customers. It took decades for many areas affected by widespread rioting in 1968 to see a meaningful urban renewal. That's just disheartening, isn't it?
It is. It is disheartening, and I think we need to recognize that there is injustice. There are some bad police officers. The courts are not always fair. I'm an attorney. I can tell you, and this is my personal experience. The court are not always fair. So there does need to be a reform. There does need to be something, but all this does is detract from the true issues that we're having. So there has to be accountability, first of all. But I think one issue that we're having too is, we have to look at immunity. Maybe, they're going to challenge the issue of immunity because officers can't be sued, judges, lawyers, there's prosecutors, for example. So we're going to need to really address the issue instead of, treating the symptoms. And that's what we've been doing so far.
Well, here's another fact. More recently, the city of Ferguson, Missouri, experienced violent riots in 2014 following the fatal police shooting of a black man, Michael Brown. Although $65 million was invested in the city, whose stores were torched by rioters along West Florissant Avenue, the murder rate and black poverty rate have increased, while small business revenues declined 5 years after the riots erupted. So they just can't seem to come back from it. In 2015, the Baltimore riots, triggered by the death of Freddie Gray, caused West Baltimore to remain in economic blight on the city 5 years later. So it just doesn't go away. People just don't want to. They just don't want to do this. It's just so sad that they attacked this inner city. It makes no sense to me if they're angry with white people, if they're angry with the privileged class as they see it. Why there? Why in those places?
One, it's because I think our elected officials they won't address the problem. They want to treat the symptoms. They want to point fingers at reactions. But the truth is, we need to address this issue. There's, corruption is nothing that's new, but politicians seem to circle the wagons when push comes to shove and when there's time for accountability. So this is a distraction for the politicians, but they need to go ahead and address what's causing the bleeding, not just keep putting Band-Aids on the symptoms and kicking the can down the road.
Absolutely correct. Well, we have to go to a break. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. We'll be right back after these.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. If you'd like a rebroadcast of today's show, check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And Melissa, we have some great guests today. Would you please talk about those?
Yes, we're going to start out with our own George Landrith. He's the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, a public policy think tank devoted to promoting a strong national defense, free markets, individual liberty, and constitutionally limited government. And George might be the most knowledgeable guy I've ever spoke to in terms of the threat that China poses to us. So we know it's easy to get distracted with COVID-19. It's easy to say, oh gosh, well, it's not politically correct to say that China's a threat. But I'm excited to talk to him because I think he can bring the facts to the table that we really need to be talking about because China is a threat to us. And we have Dr. Steve Turley coming on. He's an internationally recognized scholar, speaker, and author who's widely considered one of the most exciting voices in today's intellectual dark web. And really, if you want to hear him talk, go to turleytalks.com, and he's also on YouTube. And he's a author of over 20 books and a real solid conservative. And he wrote an article, Riots Are Red-Pilling Americans Like Nothing Else. And, it's interesting to talk about the red pill because it's brutal honesty. Nothing is sugar-coated. This is what's going on, and this is really the cause of why things are going on. So, he's going to talk somewhat about Antifa and basically how, even the left is sick of this. And I want to ask him about, because this article talks about how research shows that when there's these riots and these terroristic protests, really is what they are, people tend to swing to the right. So his article talks about how this might help Trump in the election. So I want to hear his reasoning and how he came to that conclusion. And then we're going to speak with Rachel Alexander. She's a senior editor at The Stream. She's a political columnist and founder and editor of The Intellectual Conservative. And Rachel actually is a former prosecutor, and she wrote an article, White Antifa hijacks Black protests. Because if we're going to really know what's going on, we can't rely just on mainstream media because they give us just what they want us to see. So her article talks about how people come in from the suburbs, kind of destroy the cities, and then they leave, and then talks about Antifa is behind this. So I'm excited to talk to all three of them and talk some real truth. That's the great part.
I agree. I think we're going to have some really good insights. I'm especially interested in talking more about this Antifa and really what's going on here, because it seems to be a real moneymaker for some folks. Like I read that Act Blue, which is a political PAC for the Democrats, has raised $60 million over the weekend just based on these riots. The George Floyd's brother has raised $10 million. It seems like everybody's in the let's raise money game, and I'm wondering if that's isn't it a little mercenary? I don't know. I just find it to be kind of interesting how they really have not let this crisis go to waste.
No, they have not. And it really seems that money and votes is going to come at any cost. And this is the best way that they see to get votes. But that's why I'm excited about talking to our guests, because apparently this is not the way to get votes. Everybody's sick of it. Everybody's sick of the violence.
Well, speaking of getting votes, Nancy Pelosi has a new way of getting votes, which I thought was really interesting. She pulled out her Bible and began to read scripture to President Trump. I don't know what that's about. I know that she's a Catholic, but she has never really touted her religion for anything but and I guess this is another case of it for purely political reasons. I'm not sure what she expects to gain from this, but I thought it was an interesting irony, I guess, that she would pull out the Bible and begin to preach to the president.
Well, I wonder if the people around her were worried that lightning was going to come down and strike her or something, because, you look at Nancy Pelosi, look at what she's done over the years, look at what she said over the years. Bringing a Bible out, like as a Christian woman, this almost offensive, because clearly she does not act like a Christian, nor does she talk like one.
Well, it's interesting, I guess, when people start following polls, they start to see who's voting and who isn't. And I guess the handwriting's on the wall for her that the heartland of America really wants to get back to God and godly principles in their government. And we know that our founders were deeply embedded in biblical principles. So maybe she's starting to see the light. She's not an ignorant woman. She just, she's just on the wrong side. So maybe that's her whole gain here, is that she sees a constituency, an untapped constituency for her and for the left, that they need to start appealing to what they see as the GOP stronghold. And of course, they're not, it's kind of a flip, because we saw Barack Obama saying that those of us who read our Bibles are clinging to our guns and our religion, just ignorant people out here.
Well, there's a lot of ignorant people out there then. There's a lot of us out there.
A lot of ignorance.
Yeah. But, in times of disasters and times of crisis, people do tend to, that's when churches become full. People go back to church. So, with the COVID hitting, with our economy, in such a bad state, with the riots right now, people are probably wanting to go back to our morals and our values. Family values, first of all. You look at the breakup of the family. That precipitated more violence than anything else. So it's sad, but maybe people are starting to see, hey, maybe the family unit being intact, and maybe these godly morals, maybe we're onto something there.
Well, I know that's one of the things that you pursue in your private practice is just trying to make things better for families, especially families without fathers, making fathers, the family courts, I guess, more father friendly.
Oh, right. And it's I can tell you, even now, it's 2020, and it's sad it's this way, but women who want custody, they're granted custody about 80% of the time. They over 70% of the time they are the filers of divorce. And you break up the family, intact family is a very strong institution. They protect one another, raising children. I mean, studies have shown children raised with a mother and a father, they do better in every area, academic, socially, financially, emotionally, you name it, every single area. Yet it doesn't seem like relationship preservation is really an issue when you go into family courts. It's more, okay, who's going to pay child support and daddy get every other weekend? Well, we're seeing the results of that, and I wonder how many people out there looting and rioting come from fatherless homes. That'd be an interesting study.
Well, I'm sure someone will do that. There's always a study out there, and someone's always doing it, but they don't seem to be getting the facts anymore on families because it isn't politically correct, I guess, to promote families. But anyway, we're coming up on a break again. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. Of course, now you can see us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back with our first guest, our own conservative commando, George Landrith.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, you can check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And while you're there, please go to our Facebook page and friend us, like us, and repost our stuff that we put up on Facebook. Melissa, we have our first guest ready. Would you please introduce and make him feel welcome?
Yes, we're here with Mr. George Landrith. And George is the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, a public policy think tank devoted to promoting a strong national defense, free markets, individual liberty, and constitutionally limited government. In 1994 and 1996, George was the Republican candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives from Virginia's 5th Congressional District. His work has been printed across the nation, including Washington Times, Chicago Tribune, LA Daily News, National Review, Sacramento Bee, Fort Worth Star-Telegram, Providence Journal, Daily Caller, Washington Examiner, Town Hall, and Human Events. George is also a co-host here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. So George, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Excuse me, it's great to be here. I'm really glad to be here. It's always fun. This is the place to be.
This is the place to be. So you wrote an article, it was published on Newsmax.com, that U.S. must secure high-tech capacity from China's Adventurism. Tell us about that article. I found it to be pretty informative.
Yeah, well, one of the things I think we learned from the COVID Chinese virus is that we need to reevaluate what it is that matters to us, because I think, at least from my perspective, there was a time when I kind of always got we shouldn't be buying our bombers and our radar and our missile defense from China or Russia or anyone else that's hostile to us. That would be stupid, right? But it never really occurred to me, for example, that buying prescriptions from China was perhaps a bad idea. It didn't, I didn't really see it that way. It hadn't occurred to me yet, and now I get it. And so I would argue that one of the things we have to look at are some other issues, and one of them is high-tech chips. They're manufactured disproportionately in Asia, and China has been cornering the market on that. And so they'll get to a point where we won't be able to make anything, not an iPhone, not a computer that sits on your desktop, and certainly not the high-tech stuff that gives us the advantage to our warfighters when they're protecting the United States, because we won't even have access to those chips because we will have basically outsourced it to someone else. We may design them, we may invent them, but we don't make them. And so one of the things that the the Trump administration has done is worked out a deal with with a very large, it's the third largest chip maker in the world. It's Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, TSMC, to build a chip manufacturing plant in the U.S. So to me, that's good news. It's definitely a step in the right direction. But there's a few things about it that I said to myself, you know what, we need to really kind of look at this carefully and just make sure that it's not, you know, an okay deal for America. We want it to be a really good deal for America. And so I asked myself, what do we need here? And I would say, first of all, we want to make sure this chip factory can produce the most up-to-date, modern chipsets we need. And the problem, of course, it takes a while to build a factory. And when the factory is done, the way it's designed right now, it will be a chip factory that will build kind of yesterday's chips. And they'll be used in commercial electronics. They might run your refrigerator. They might run your, you know, Alexa, you know, whatever, but they won't necessarily run the high-tech stuff that we need to keep us at the cutting edge of technology. So and those factories are being built today, just not the one they're planning to build in the U.S. So I would say no. We got to build a top-notch one. The second critique I would have is it's not real. I mean, it's a good-sized plant, but it's not a real big plant when you consider our voracious need for computer technology and chips. So I think we ought to build either one really large plant, or if it makes more sense to build two smaller ones. I don't really care about that issue. I had someone ask me that the other day. I was like, no, I'm not really advocating one or the other, but we ought to look at capacity. And that is, we need to have a much bigger factory, or more than one factory, so that I suspect there's economy of scales, though. So I suspect one factory would probably do the trick, but just bigger, because we need to be able to produce enough chips in a given month that we can supply our need, as opposed to just a small fraction of our need. So to me, I think the Trump administration was smart to work out this deal with TSMC, but I would argue they need to focus on at least those two things. And if they do that, to me, the real issue then becomes how to accomplish that. And I would say the best way to accomplish it is probably by requiring, because when you let a foreign company build something like that in the U.S. and so forth, it requires some cooperation from our government, obviously. I would tell them you need to have an American company as your essentially in a joint venture. And that gives us a lot of advantages. One, it puts more money into the project so they can build the more modern factory. It also lets them build a bigger factory. And I would argue the most important thing it does is it further insulates Taiwan and this company from China, and this venture and the factory from China. So it truly does help be a counterweight to China's ambition. That was a lot of talk in there, but that's an overview of kind of, if I were to give you the executive summary as opposed to read you the article, that's what I would say.
Gotcha. The article states that the party has even bragged of its future capacity to attack and defeat the United States during an international pandemic. So that's where we are right now. But you're saying that they even bragged about their capacity to come in and beat us during...
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a mistake for us to assume that China has good intentions. If you think that, then you're not paying attention. And I understand we don't really know how the COVID virus got out. I don't have an opinion on that. What we do know is that once it got out, China did everything they could to make sure it hit us hard and hit other countries hard. And then they blamed it on us, and they blamed it on the Italians and all this other crazy stuff. But the reality is they have actually, as you mentioned, they talked about their military prowess and how they're developing missiles and this, submarines and other things that they were going to be in a position to attack us and defeat us. And I thought, well, that's an interesting thing to talk about in the middle of a pandemic that you're responsible for. You might think you'd take a hiatus from the provocative talk for a moment, but no, they didn't. And I think that's revealing. And I think as Americans, we should pay. I think it was Menachem Begin who was talking at one point, Prime Minister of Israel years ago. And he said, when people tell you that they hate Jews and want to kill them, you should believe them. They're not lying to you. That's what they want to do. And I would argue, yes, he was right. We should believe them. And I would say this is true with China. When China says they want to dominate the world and they are preparing to attack you, we should believe them. Stop ignoring them. They're telling you this. Come on.
Exactly. We're probably the biggest obstacle China has to world domination. So, we have a huge target on us. We have for a long time, and people just seem to be disregarding that. But China's a huge threat to us.
Absolutely. And one of the reasons they're a huge threat is because not only have they built a strong military and they're continuing to build it, but unlike, say, Russia, which has nuclear weapons and things like that, they don't have the strong economy to back it up. And it's hard to engage in anything other than a very quick strike if you don't have the strong military. The strong economy. You have to be able to sustain the effort. China has that ability, and we cannot afford to make ourselves dependent upon them, as we were, for example, for PP&E, as we were for medicine. We saw how very willing they were to. There was a shipload of PP&E that they turned around when we criticized what they had done. That was paid for, and they said, "Oh, never mind. We won't ship that to you. See how you do along without it." Like, okay, So, my point is, these people don't have our best interest at heart. They're Chinese. The Chinese people are fine. The Chinese regime are communists who want to dominate us.
Yep. Another scary thing in your article I read was that the Trump administration enacted restrictions on Chinese tech company. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong.
Huawei.
Yep. Which is infamous for placing backdoors in their chips so that the communist regime has control over any device with that chip in it.
Yeah,
so,
they've done. Yeah.
Devices.
No, that's how they do things, and it's hard to find backdoors, but eventually you find them. It's because they're kind of hidden in there, and but Huawei created backdoors so they could listen and do other things with the chips that were in the devices that people bought. And to me, imagine having a Chinese chip in a radar system, and the radar system would always work until the Chinese didn't want it to, right before an attack.
So it would be a radar system. It could be our personal cellular phones. It could be chips that are in our vehicles that make our vehicles start. This is really, I think we think of chips, we think of computers, we think of cell phones, but really you look around, every sort of electronic device that you rely on every day has some sort of a chip in it.
You're exactly right. Today, the simplest computer or the simplest device typically has a chip in it. From microwaves to refrigerators to tools, you name it. That's the way it's done nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're speaking with George Landrith. We're going to have to take a break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7, and we'll be right back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we are going to give a shout out to those folks listening to us on radio stations in Tampa, Jacksonville, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, and also you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. As our producer Rick Trader says, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. And we've been talking with our guest, George Landrith, who is the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom and also a Conservative Commando co-host. He's written an article, U.S. Must Secure High-Tech Capacity from China's Adventurism, which has to do with chips. So, George, you talk about in your article how Taiwan is the third manufacturer, third largest manufacturer of chips. Who's 1 and 2?
Well, this company is the company, and its name is has their, the name of the country in it. So it's the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, which is the third largest chip maker in the world. I'd have to double check, to be honest with you. I remember when I did the research to write the article, I had it at the tip of my tongue. But what you will see is that most of them are focused in and around China. And even the Taiwanese Semiconductor Manufacturing Company China is a big customer of theirs. So they are a little bit beholden to them in terms of what their business model is. So that's why I think it's good that we have a factory here, but why I'd kind of like a joint venture so that we can kind of make it so that we can insulate, if you will, this Taiwanese company, which is separate from the communist regime, but I would argue at risk because China's made no secret of its desire to one day dominate Taiwan the same way they're now dominating Hong Kong. Yeah. So, so I would argue that in the event something like that happened, if we don't do this, you could end up with a Taiwanese company that one day is actually a communist Chinese company. And so to me, it's important to have the ability to resolve that ahead of time. So to me, That's why I argue what I argue for. I don't generally want to interfere with business, but this is a national security issue, and it's a foreign company, and it's appropriate for the government to set out the parameters for how we invite foreign countries to come into our country to build and to do things.
Okay, so that just begs the question. We developed the chip, we developed the technology here. We did all the research and development on it. I think that's what you and Melissa were discussing in the first half. How come we don't have a manufacturer here in the U.S. already?
Well, part of the reason, to be honest, is because we've had a fairly, I would argue, our industrial policy has been pretty adversarial to making things in America. At some point, we decided that it didn't matter, and we were happy to ship jobs overseas, and we were going to, in some cases, we were going to chase them out. You know, it'd be kind of like if I invited you over for dinner, and then you show up, and you and your husband come over for dinner, and then I start screaming and yelling at you and chasing you around the house with a baseball bat and screaming, get out, and then you leave. And then later I complain, why did they leave? It's so I don't understand. What terrible guests. It's like, no, you're a terrible host. You chased them out. And I would argue that's kind of what ends up happening is we tax them to death, we regulate them to death. I remember one time Steve Jobs was at a meeting with Apple before he died years ago with Barack Obama at the White House. And he pointed out to him, we could make iPhones here, you know, but the way we do things now with our policy makes it almost impossible. And he says, I'd love to make them here. And you could make that possible as president if you just advocate better policy. To which Barack Obama shrugged his shoulders and says, doesn't matter. So I'm hoping that we'll be a little smarter because we could make these things here, but we just need to not, you know, if I invite you over for dinner, maybe I'll not chase you around the house with a bat and scream and cuss at you.
Okay. So what has changed besides the presidency, and is that enough in order to bring these companies, not only the Taiwanese company here, I can see a benefit in a couple of different ways of having them here rather than reinventing the wheel is one of those benefits. The other, of course, you enunciated with the, putting a buffer there, insulating that company. But you know, we thrive on competition. That's what happens here in the United States. It makes everything work better. But what are we doing now that will bring those kinds of companies into the U.S. again?
Well, one of it is, I think, rhetoric. People say that doesn't matter, and the answer is it does. The president, just by himself, has made it clear that America's open for business, and he's going to do everything he can to make that possible, which causes people to all of a sudden say, maybe we should look into America. Great workforce, well-educated, highly productive, you know, lots of that. We have inexpensive energy, which is very important in manufacturing. So lots of advantages. But on top of that, I think you see an attempt. You've seen tax rates cut. You see the president's been rolling back regulations. So I think there's a lot to recommend what the president has done. And I'm hoping that even in Congress, this Chinese COVID virus has woken people up to recognize that choosing to be reliant upon China for fundamental things that we will need as a nation to be strong is really stupid, and that it won't be a partisan issue. We'll see, because every time I think that maybe that we could get beyond partisanship, Nancy Pelosi opens her mouth and makes me realize that maybe nothing can get past partisanship. But I'm hopeful that, you know, in America at least, there are people who've historically voted for Democrats who are more American than they are Democrats, and will realize, I'm not going to keep voting to make America dependent upon somebody who's told us they would like to dominate us.
Well, it certainly seems like this economy has done that. We see more and more people leaving the Democrat Party because they need a job, because they realize that the Democrats are not the party of economic growth. George, we have to go, but would you please tell everyone in our audience how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, read your articles?
Absolutely. Well, it's pretty easy. I work at Frontiers of Freedom, and our website really couldn't be much easier than this. It's just 2fs.org. FF, like Frontiers Freedom, .org, ff.org. And then you can follow me on Twitter at, it's very clever, George Landrith, Landrith. Or no, I take it back. I think it's G Landrith, but at any rate, Glandrith. That's right. So, but anyhow, those are probably the two best ways to follow what I'm up to.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care and God bless. And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. Now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back with our next guest.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you would like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, please check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages, friend us, like us, retweet, and post our postings. Melissa, our next guest is ready. Would you please introduce him and make him feel welcome?
Yes, we're talking with Dr. Steve Turley. He's an internationally recognized scholar, speaker, and author who is widely considered one of the most exciting voices in today's intellectual dark web. Dr. Steve's popular YouTube channel showcases daily his expertise in the rise of nationalism, populism, and traditionalism throughout the world. And his podcasts and writings on civilization, society, culture, education, and the arts are widely assessed at turleytalks.com. He's the author of over 20 books, including The Return of Christendom, Demography, Politics, and the Coming Christian Majority, The New Nationalism, How the Populist Right is Defeating Globalism and Awakening a New Political Order, and Classical versus Modern Education, A Vision from C.S. Lewis. A frequent guest on numerous talk shows, his research and writings have appeared in such journals as Christianity and Literature, Calvin Theological Journal, First Things, Touchstone, and the Chesterton Review. Steve, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks for having me back.
So you wrote an article, Riots Are Red-Pilling Americans Like Nothing Else, and I really enjoyed this article because it is so candid. And I love the term red pill. I think we should red pill everyone. But tell us about your article.
Yeah, well, I think it was more or less a counter to all the insanity that you hear on CNN and MSNBC and the whole woke media. That actually, obviously, they've actually taken sides. It's part of the whole partisanization of society. They've actually taken sides. They took sides on behalf of science, as they claimed during the whole coronavirus epidemic, and now they're taking sides on behalf of social justice. And they present it from the vantage point that this is what everybody feels like. Everybody feels like these riots really are just protests. They really are just, social demonstrations for justice and equity. And what I try to do is to show, actually, if we allow some very pertinent studies to guide us here and some very real elections in the past, we'll find that the exact opposite is happening. We'll find that if those trends hold, more Americans are upset and ready to take revenge on the Democrats in November.
Oh, absolutely. And, you say that there are studies that found that there's a clear connection between the perpetration of terrorist acts and an observable increase in support for the political right. So basically, what they're doing right now, if the studies are correct, is they're increasing Trump's chances of re-election in the fall.
They certainly are, and even leftist professors would argue that. So you have an interesting Princeton study that came out not too long ago, just a few years back, that found that looked at elections from 1964 onward and found that whenever you had mass riots like this, if you look at the counties closest to the riots in the next upcoming presidential election, there is a significant depletion of Democrat support in those counties than they would have otherwise had if there were no riots. One of my favorite examples he points out was what's called the Watts riots in California back in 1965 in LA. And so the Democratic governor there, Pat Brown, looked very weak, looked very incompetent. And so a Republican in 1966 ended up exploiting that weakness, and he beat him by 15 points. And that Republican was, of course, one named Ronald Reagan. And we see this pattern over and over again. We do have to remember that 2016 was preceded by the Baltimore Freddie Gray riots and the Ferguson Michael Brown riots. And I think from this pattern of analysis, those would have had an inordinate influence in helping Trump win his first election.
Yeah. And I like your article. You say law-abiding Americans demand law and order. Now that's, if you're a Republican, if you're Libertarian, if you're Democrat, we all want law and order. Every person, everyone is appalled by the death of George Floyd. Everyone.
Right, of course.
But so, and you look on social media, it doesn't matter if there are Democrats, Republicans, and Libertarians, and whoever, they're all saying, listen now, don't take it out on this small business owner over here who's trying to defend his business, or take it out in these residential areas. No one can deny that there's corruption within the courts, there's corruption within the police departments, that things have to change. But it seems like everyone is saying, look, this has gone too far.
Yeah, and they did, and we can see it. There was a meme that came out that I thought really hit it on the head here, where if you think about it, just in the last few weeks, we went from government officials arresting small business owners for just trying to put food on their tables to government officials basically allowing people to loot and destroy small businesses. Now, how do you put those two together? We're trying to obey the law. We're just Tucker Carlson's been brilliant on this each night. He's been on fire. He's focused really on this notion that you have two, for lack of a better term, classes of people. You have a group of people, and it's pre-political. They can be on the right, they can be on the left, and all that. We talked about this in my last appearance here on the Conservative Treehouse with the populist movement. It's pre-political. We just want to obey the law. We just want to live out our lives. We don't want to get in a conflict with anyone and the like. And what does our political class do? They smack us around and bully us all the time. They put new taxes on, new regulations on. They make it hard for us to put a shed in our backyard and so forth. Then you have people who actively are literally destroying civilization. And what do? They take their side. They defend them. And this is what makes these riots, I think, so unique. Victor Davis Hanson was pointing that out the other night, that we've had riots in the past, but this is the first time our political class has basically circled the wagon and in a single uniform voice defended these riots, saying it's our fault, we're a systemically racist society, we should in effect be destroyed. And so that's what I think makes these particularly unique and particularly potent for a political backlash in November.
You're exactly right. And I think, even on the right or left, we're all sick of it. Like you said, we have, people trying to open up their stores, gyms or haircut places just to survive, and they're getting arrested. And then yet you have Joe Biden's campaign saying, hey, you know what, we'll post bail for you, encouraging, go break the law because we'll just post bail for you. So you're right. It is. I think the American people in general, the law-abiding, law-demanding American people are mad and they're angry because the injustice right now is being perpetrated by really the politicians.
Yeah, and that's key. That's key because law and order is pre-political. That's so key, and that's why it's so organic, and that's why it's so easy to push people who would normally vote Democrat over to the right. And we're finding in studies with terrorism that, particularly in Israeli populations, that's where the studies were conducted, that whenever there was a terrorist attack, they found that there was a mass move to the right, even in districts that lean left, which is so fascinating. And we've seen something akin to that lately. We've had several elections in the last few weeks, and the GOP has swept them. So it's really interesting. Something's going on there that I think people feel like that there is a pre-political movement towards the right, and I think this is only exacerbating it.
I absolutely agree. We're speaking with Dr. Steve Turley. We're going to have to take a break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. And we'll be right back.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? it's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right, we will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And we'd like to give a shout out to those who listen to us on the AUN TV network in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and soon in Carson City, Reno, and Lake Tahoe, Nevada. We have been speaking with our guest, Dr. Steve Turley, who is an internationally recognized scholar, speaker, and author who is widely considered one of the most exciting voices in today's intellectual dark web. And he has written an article, "Riots Are Red-Pilling Americans Like Nothing Else." Well, this is such an interesting thing because when my Democrat mayor came out and chastised the policeman for trying to keep law and order. In fact, what she said was, when the rioters were rioting, just remember, be careful how you treat the rioters. It just was, I thought, well, maybe I'm the only one that's angry to hear her say these things, but it sounds like the heartland is angry too.
They are, and what's so interesting is, I wrote this article on Monday, and yesterday, we got a poll out. So this poll was from the Morning Consult firm that polled 1,600 registered voters between May 31st and June 1st, and just over the couple of days, but it's a good sample. And what they found is nearly 60% of those polled, that's 58% to be exact, supported President Trump's plan to send the military in to restore order, to do what these Democratic governors and mayors refused to do. The numbers got even higher when they were asked if they supported the National Guard. 71% said they did. And what made this poll so fascinating is that they found that a full 63% of Democrats supported the National Guard to be sent in, and a plurality of them, 48%, supported the military. Only 43% did not. So even Democrats are on board here. They are horrified by what happened to George Floyd. We all are, but we are equally horrified not only at the riots, but the reaction of the people that we put in the positions of power and leadership for the fundamental purpose of protection and keeping our livelihood and our welfare safe. And when they look at us unabashedly and say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to allow these people to destroy your businesses, to destroy your livelihoods, to destroy your neighborhoods, even though we were willing to arrest you 3 weeks ago if you try to get a haircut. I think you're seeing a massive backlash, and again, we have the studies to show that. So I think we have a lot of corroborating evidence. We have both studies and we have recent polls to show there is a backlash against this.
So how do we communicate that to America's finest? This is concerning to me because they're hearing politicians, they're hearing the media, they're actually hearing everybody say, "Oh, it's the police's fault. It's they're too heavy-handed," and yet when we ask them to protect us, we find them saying things like, "Well," they said in Nevada, here in Reno, they said, "We just want you to go home. It will be much safer if you just go home," rather than saying we're going to do something strongly to prevent vandalism and destruction of property. They say, no, just go home. So how do we communicate to these folks that we're really behind them and want them to protect us?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because when you're dealing, and you know this, of course, firsthand, when you're dealing with the political class, you're dealing with politicians, media types, CEOs, university profs, Hollywood elite, who don't know any other way of interpreting the world but through politically correct lenses. That's the only way they know how to make sense of anything, like whether it's race or sex or gender, whatever it is. They don't know, and because largely this is what's happened to our universities since the 1940s. Universities turned cultural Marxists. The Frankfurt School of Europe, during the height of Hitler, ended up coming over to the United States, particularly Columbia University. And then after World War II, the GI Bill sent, more people than ever into the universities, and this stuff just spread like a virus throughout. So if you're truly educated, you're supposed to think like a cultural Marxist. We're seeing that among Republicans. We're seeing it among Democrats. What I think we are also finding, and again, this fits in from what we talked about in our last chat, I think what we're finding is that citizens are stepping up and stepping in the place of where the politicians have fledged and failed. And I'm seeing this, articles are coming out in terms of the massive spike in gun purchases in May as well as April. They were both record months. I think it was 70% up in April from this time last year and 80% up or even 90% up in May. We're seeing people, particularly out where you guys are, just up north in Idaho and Wyoming and in suburban California, who are hearing rumors of Antifa coming out and wanting to cause trouble there. And you're seeing armed citizens come on out and doing the job that the police or the mayors are supposed to be doing. So I think we're actually demonstrating the fact that we're not just going to go quietly into our homes. Civic virtue requires that we protect the weak, our neighbors and the like. And I think we're seeing that at a record. So what you're doing is you're seeing really, again, this partisanization of society. It's no longer right versus left. It's no longer conservative versus liberal in the ideological sense. Now it's political class versus the people. And the problems for the political class is that people vote.
Well, the other problem is that these protesters have attacked the most vulnerable in these riots, the inner city, the city that has been struggling to reinvent itself, to reconnect and make businesses flourish there. And, I read an article about Minneapolis. It's just not going to come back after these riots. What's going on there? That just doesn't make sense to me.
It is bizarre, isn't it? Because it's self-immolation. They're not burning down and destroying all the red counties in the country, the flyover counties that voted for Trump. They're destroying themselves. We saw it on the college campuses with the Black Lives Matter movement and so forth, where they wanted all these university presidents fired who were bona fide liberals, but they weren't the right color or whatever it was. They weren't the right gender. This is where the social cultural Marxism comes in. I think there is something, to be honest with you, about self-immolation. I don't know quite the psychology of it. We'll have to bring Jordan Peterson in on that one. But if you think about, like in the 60s, the monk who would demonstrate by burning himself, or you think about the person who engages in the hunger strike, there's something almost martyr-like about self-immolation in terms of protest, in terms of political protest. I really took issue with CNN and MSNBC and all these guys referring to these rioters as protesters. But I have to say that the more I think about it, they may be more right than they realize, in the sense that by destroying themselves, they're engaging in the most extreme form of political protest. But I don't know what they think they're going to get out of it, given these studies and given these polls that are coming out.
Wow. Well, we're at the end of our time, Dr. Steve Turley. It's been great having you, and we want you to tell our listeners how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, read your articles.
Yes, they can come to my website. That's turleytalks.com. It's my last name, T as in Tom, URLEY, talks, like TED Talks.com, and they get all the articles and videos like that. And anybody who likes YouTube, you can just punch in Dr. Steve Turley and you'll find my channel there. We're almost at 300,000 subscribers, so it'd be great to have you there.
Thank you so much for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care and God bless.
God bless you too. Thanks so much.
And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, to Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. And of course, now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, go to our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. Of course, friend us, follow us, and like us there on Twitter and on Facebook. Melissa, our next guest is ready. Would you make her feel welcome?
Absolutely. We're here speaking with Rachel Alexander. She's a senior editor at The Stream. She's a political columnist and the founder and editor of Intellectual Conservative. She's a regular contributor to Town Hall, the Zealous Foundation for Public Policy Research, the Christian Post, and Right Wing News. She frequently appears on TV and news radio as a conservative commentator and hosted a radio show on 960 KKNT in Phoenix. She previously served as Assistant Attorney General for the state of Arizona, corporate attorney for GoDaddy Software, and she was ranked by Right Wing News as one of the 50 best conservative columnists, and is a recipient of the Americans for Prosperity's Right Online Activist of the Year Award. Rachel, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks. You guys are one of my favorite shows.
That's great. Now, you wrote an article, White Antifa Hijacks Black Protests. It's a spot-on, very informative article. Tell us about that article.
Oh, well, basically, I was sitting here working all weekend and monitoring the news on the TV and Twitter and just following everything minute by minute. And the more I watched and read, the more it struck me that, boy, there is a lot of, raggedy-looking white people who are the ones who are doing all the looting and the burning down and the, harassing police. And then I started to see little things like how the AP, for example, would post photos from the rioting, but they would just show a few black people, implying that, this is mostly black people. But then when you turn to Fox News and they did a shot way out so you could see like 100 people, it was almost all white people. And the protest at the White House, I saw a video of that, and it looked like 100 white people. I could not see a single black person except in the security.
Yeah. And you also write about the fact that a lot of these rioters they're not even from the inner cities or the big cities. They come from the suburbs or from out of state.
Yeah, that was interesting because at first they were reporting that, 80% were coming from out of state. And then, the media did a public records request and said, no, that's not true. Most of them are actually in the state. Well, okay, even if they're in the state, they're not coming from the downtown neighborhoods where, a lot of black people live. They're rich Antifa who live with their parents coming from the suburbs, so they don't really care about the downtown and looting and, burning things down. And I saw interviews with a lot of these black people who live downtown, and they're like, you white people quit coming down and looting and terrorizing our spaces.
Yeah, so what I've seen in the media or on social media is that what us is predominantly black rioters, but you say something interesting in here is you say that people, they were caught paying people to travel from urban areas and riot, and one ad from MoveOn.org said minorities were preferred. Why? Does the media want to perpetuate, or these people who are paying these protesters, they want to perpetuate the stereotype that this is just black people out rioting and looting?
Yeah, I believe they are doing it maliciously in order to keep black people voting for Democrats. They're trying to say, hey, look, it's all these, white supremacists at the protest. They're not part of it. There's hardly any white nationalists anywhere left in the country. And so they're trying to associate them with the right and say, oh, us Democrats, we're the only ones who really care about black people and stopping racism, when in reality, I don't even think that this horrible shooting was about race.
Right. So, and then you say that the Attorney General of Minnesota can be seen in a photo smiling and holding up a book promoting Antifa, which Antifa, to my understanding, is largely, like you said, a bunch of maybe rich white kids who live in their parents' basements. So they want to promote violence, perpetuate the stereotype, and then point at minorities and say, look at them, they're the one doing this, they're the one rioting.
Yeah, and this is the guy who's handling, the riots. He likes Antifa. We can't expect him to want to crack down on Antifa. And I heard too that I believe his son is a member of Antifa.
What's sad too is, you say in your article that there's a video of a black small business owner. He's in tears because the rioters completely destroyed his bar, which he put his life savings into. And from what I've seen, the majority of blacks don't want this. They don't want the rioting. They don't want the destruction. And like you said, people are coming in from out of state or out of town. They're destroying neighborhoods they don't have to live in. They don't have to deal with. And then they're leaving and going home. So really, from what I can tell, the left and the right were like, stop, this is enough. But unfortunately, they're perpetuating the stereotype that minorities are doing this.
Yeah, they keep trying to say there really is racism going on when the minorities themselves are saying, we don't want this. I mean, minority business owners, they clearly don't think that there was a big enough problem that you need to do rioting. And it's just so brutally unfair when you have, white Antifa destroying these black-owned businesses, and then you got Biden staffers bragging about raising money to get these losers out of jail on bail.
And we did an interview where they said, look, that when there's rioting and looting, it actually benefits the right, because even Democrats are saying, look, no, this is not what the Democratic Party is about, not about rioting and looting, and they actually switch over and vote Republican sometimes. But then like you said, the staffers for Joe Biden bragging about donating to a fund, to pay bail for these people who are arrested. I mean, really, when we look at minorities, I think even minorities are saying, well, we've had enough. But it perpetuates this myth that there is this huge racial divide, that Republicans should continue to hate Democrats, Democrats should continue to hate Republicans, when at the end of the day, we all want peace and order. That's what we want.
Probably not as nice. Most of the Democrats, they want these riots to continue, and they're begging for Donald Trump to, order national troops, because if he does, and one innocent person dies, they are going to use that against Trump endlessly to try to, defeat his reelection.
Yeah, and you also wrote about in 2016, a Tony Timpa, a white man was pinned down in Dallas by a police officer for only 14 minutes. Killing him, sort of similar to what just happened, and yet we didn't have the big media explosion. What do you think the difference is?
Okay, the fact that he was white, and one of the officers involved was black, and it got no media. The media only cares, left-wing media only cares about when a black person is killed by a white cop. Actually, sometimes they don't even care if the cop's white. But there was another case I brought up in my article where it was a black cop going after a black person, and that one has been ignored. So, yeah, usually it's a white cop on a black person, and that Tony Timpa case, because it got no publicity, nothing happened to those officers who were merely put on administrative leave and not prosecuted.
So you were a prosecutor, and you opined in your article that most of the Antifa protesters engaged in violence are doing so because they have criminal records, they're mad at the police for getting caught. Has that been your experience?
Exactly, and I don't know why people are doing this, because if you go and look up the criminal histories, and as a prosecutor, I get to see a lot more that the public doesn't get to see. I get to see more than the judge even gets to see. And so I guarantee you almost all these Antifa people have records, and maybe some of them aren't necessarily criminal convictions, but you know, there's a lot of people who commit crimes who get off on some technicality or something, and based on what's happened to them, they hate the police.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Well, we're speaking with Rachel Alexander. We're going to have to take a break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. And we'll be right back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host Melissa Isaak, and we've been talking with Rachel Alexander, who is the senior editor at The Stream, and she's written an article, White Antifa Hijacks Black Protests. I thought it was very interesting that you mentioned the monetary gains of these protests. I was surprised when I read that Act Blue, which is a Democrat PAC, has raised $60 million on just over the weekend. That George Floyd's brother has raised $10 million. I mean, it seems like, everybody's in it for the money. Do you think that's a legitimate thing, or do you think that's just a byproduct?
I mean, I think that you've got, cynical people out there who are only in it for themselves, and Act Blue is one of those typical political organizations that all they want to do is raise money to put Democrats in power. And so they are exploiting this incident, for money. And I think that's terrible to do. It'd be one thing if they were going to, give them money to promote criminal justice or something, police training. But no, they're going to use that money to put Democrats into power.
Well, that was my thought too. And you mentioned in your article that these are probably paid protesters. Who's paying for these protesters that we're seeing now in all of our cities? I mean, Reno got attacked by protesters, and the lady that was organizing the protest got her permit to protest, said that later in the protest, she saw white men dressed in black with black masks begin to infiltrate the crowd. Where did those guys come from, and are they being paid?
Well, as we learned in previous incidents like this, a lot of these protesters are paid, but we haven't found out yet because, they try to hide it. They're very careful. And my guess is they probably have learned not to put ads on Craigslist again because they'll get caught. So I know there's a few websites out there where you can go sign up to be one of these protesters. In fact, I was thinking of doing it just so I'm not, technically doing it, but just going through the motions so I could get on their email list. Haven't done that yet, but anyway, I think, we're going to have to do a little bit more digging if we want to get to the bottom of this, but I guarantee you the source types of organizations are behind this, because that's just too many, kids living with their parents who are, coming out. I mean, these are hundreds, maybe thousands of Antifa.
Well, I know I just did a little Google search, and there's a Crowd on Demand, and they will supply you with protesters if you need protesters, if you need campaign folk to come out. So that there are actual businesses out there on the internet that do this kind of thing. I'm kind of excited to have you go ahead and investigate just what kind of a business that is that would prey upon things like this, because it seems like that's truly what's going on, is they're taking advantage of a really tragic situation.
Yeah, and it's really disrespectful, considering George Floyd's sister, his brother, they have asked, people to just not take advantage of the situation. And, they don't want the rioting going on, but these rioters won't listen to them, and they won't stop. They're all in it because the end goal is to get Democrats elected.
Well, but aren't they kind of injuring themselves, because they're not attacking wealthy white areas? They're attacking these middle inner city areas that are really struggling from the shutdown, first of all, but just because of where they are located, they're suffering, and they've just completely annihilated some businesses there.
I think their agenda there is to get as much publicity as possible. If you go off to some, white suburb, there's going to be nobody around. You're not going to have some famous business that's going to make the news. It's going to be just, Joe and Mom. And so it's all about the appearance. It's all about the show. That they are smart when they are targeting, a big wealthy business. That works for their agenda, but yeah, it's horrible though. They don't realize, a lot of these businesses are owned by minorities, owned by Black people.
Okay, now as a prosecuting attorney, I know that justice is the main goal of most attorneys. That's why they get into it. That's why judges become judges. They really love the rule of law. How does a person in this climate, on either side of this issue, whether you're the perpetrator or the victim, how does anybody get a fair trial with all this press?
Well, this is a typical case where they might need to move the jury. So, where the initial case gets assigned, you might end up with a jury that's all Black people, and that's not quite fair. There should be at least some balance. So it might be worth it just, moving the trial to another county. But, a lot of times they won't do that because, with the O.J. Simpson trial, they wanted a specific outcome. So they made sure, it took place where there was, almost all Black people on the jury. And so I don't expect this to be much different. A lot of people, they don't care about justice. They just they have an agenda.
Well, and it seems like with all of this being in the news, it's hard, when you've seen that video over and over again, and most people have, how do you get someone that's not seen or thinks they know all the facts?
Well, and that's the beauty of jury selection. You start out with 100 people and you just start asking them, do you watch the news? Do you read the newspaper? And so, what the defense wants to do is find the most, unknowledgeable people who don't know anything about the situation. And yeah, it is going to be hard to do because, most of us have seen this. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. And the next thing that happens, I guess, is when this man does come to trial, which he needs to, because that's our justice system. I hope we don't just throw you in the jail and throw away the key without giving you due process. But will we have more riots? What's the next thing that's going to happen?
Right. If he, is let off or gets a very small sentence, I guarantee you there will be more riots. And, this is just going to keep going as long as the left keeps, perpetrating this stereotype that cops are bad. Well, there's a few bad apples, but you can't label them all bad. And then, the other stereotype that cops target Black people when, I've shown in my article, this is not a case of targeting somebody because he was Black. This was a case of a cop who used a very bad procedure. He wasn't trained, didn't follow his training. So this wasn't about race, but I don't see the media dying down on trying to make all these types of situations about race. They love it because they think it gets them votes for Democrats.
Well, I hope that this is truly politically motivated and that after the election, nobody will care anymore and we won't have more rioting, but it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case. We're out of time, Rachel Alexander. Would you please tell everyone how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, read your articles?
Thank you. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Rach_IC. And you can find my writing at The Stream, Town Hall, WND, and my personal website, Intellectual Conservative.
We're so grateful for you being on our show. Thank you so much. Take care, and God bless. And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, AM, FM 24/7. Of course, you can also watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. Melissa Isaak and I will be right back after these messages.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call Low Cost Airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And, you know, that's the end of the show, Melissa. It always goes by so quickly. Would you please tell our listeners how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, and also would you thank our guests?
Sure. I'm just on Facebook, just Melissa Isaak, and I'm on Instagram, melissa.isaak, and I think there's 2 Melissa Isaaks on Facebook, so you got a 50-50 shot of finding me there, but you'll see my picture, so that's how you can find me. Now, we had a talk with George Landrith. Of course, he's one of our own. He's a host on the Conservative Commandos radio show. He's the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, a public policy think tank devoted to promoting a strong national defense, free markets, individual liberty, and constitutionally limited government. And he wrote an article, U.S. must secure high-tech capacity from China's adventurism. And, you know, we don't really realize how much of a threat China still is to us. So he really walks us through. I mean, they make our computer chips. They could really take over our electronics. So it was great talking to him. Puts everything in perspective on why we need American autonomy. We spoke with Dr. Steve Turley. He's an internationally recognized scholar, speaker, and author, and widely considered one of the most exciting voices in today's intellectual dark web. And he has turleytalks.com. And he wrote an article, Riots Are Red-Pilling Americans Like Nothing Else. What I found interesting about talking with Dr. Turley is, you know, these riots really help the right. And I never would have thought that. But, you know, even Democrats are saying, listen, no, you know, this is enough. We want law and order. So, you know, it was interesting talking to him about that because, if the research is correct, Trump might see a landslide this fall. So, and we spoke with Rachel Alexander. She's a senior editor at The Stream, a political columnist, and founder and editor of The Intellectual Conservative. She wrote an article, White Antifa Hijacks Black Protests, and she detailed for us how really these white Antifa are coming into the inner cities. They're rioting, they're looting, they're essentially destroying these communities, and then they're leaving and they're going back home. But and then the media sort of portrays just the blacks doing this. And so we have the white Antifa going in there and stirring the pot and then pointing the finger over there saying, hey, look, there's these blacks over here that are rioting and looting, when really, the white Antifa is over there stirring the pot. So, it's always nice to have candid guests and bring these great perspectives and really shows us really what's going on, because the media is not going to do that.
Absolutely. Well, and if anyone would like to follow me, I'm at SharonEngle.com, SharonEngle.com. But for right now, we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.